Sawa.
Yes, we are live. Hello, guys. It's Tabs, and welcome to Tabs Hope Hub channel. Today, I am really excited to have two precious friends of mine. Both of them are from Kenya, and the reason I have brought them today is because we have this thing we need to talk about. We cannot put it under the carpet anymore because it is here with us, and I think it is a high time we deal with it because before it get too late or things get worse. So today we have Mwalimu, and I want to put a disclaimer that since he is a Mwalimu, he is not going to talk on behalf of all teachers in Kenya. No, he is not. He is only going to talk for himself. I don't want you guys to start trolling him and bully him. Mwanza kumuuliza nani amemwambia ongea on behalf of TSC and hizo organizations za walimu. And pia we have our precious daughter of the Meru side. Pia yeye she gonna talk to us kama mzazi, and also I will put a disclaimer that whatever she is going to say, she's not going to talk on behalf of all wazazi in Kenya because we all have our own opinions. We also have our ways of raising our own kids. Maybe the way you want your kids to grow is totally different from how Tabs want to raise her kid. So also whatever she is going to say, it's her own opinion. She's not talking on behalf of anybody. So don't go out there trolling her, don't bully her, don't call her name. So please tuheshimiane. And in case whatever we are going to discuss today, it's not gonna fall in the line of what you believe in. So please feel free. You can put your comment down there. You can tell us why. And who knows, next time we can also invite you here to tell us msimamo wako, what you stand for and what you believe for. So today, I have two againists. I have never have two guests in my channel before. I only have one, usually have one, but today, because I want to hear from both sides, Mwalimu and Mzazi. What is that both of them want to be done in school for us to make our institutions better? So as usual, we're gonna start with ladies first, and I will let her introduce herself. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much, Tabs. My name is Nkatha Mugao, the founder and director of Frolics of Hope Africa. It's an organization that deals with child protection services, and we're actually based in Nakuru, Kenya. What we deal with is cases of child violence, abuse, kidnapping, and trafficking, early marriages, and female genital mutilation, FGM. So yeah, that's basically who I am. Biologically, I'm a mother of one, and I have more than 43 adopted children that I support and take care of. All these are children who've gone through one or more forms of violence, as I mentioned earlier. So yeah, thank you.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Ngada and Karibu Sana. Thank you for gracing my show. And I want to tell you guys, I know most of you follow me on Facebook. And in case you have seen a post that I put out there yesterday about the children home or the children organization, an organization that need our help, please, he is a CEO of that organization that we put there, and they really need our help. So please, feel free to share whatever retro you have, that even if it is 50 bob, even if it is 40 bob, 30. I know kidogo kidogo ujaza kibaba, so please feel free to share whatever retro you have, and you can visit them physically. We know sometimes imekuwa ngumu, to just changia what we don't even know. Feel free to visit their home, their rescue home in Nakuru. Before we end this discussion, we will share the location. Go there, do your shopping, pelekea hawa watoto, go mentor them. In case there is that one thing you would like to share with them. Maybe you are a hairdresser, you are what do we call them? A designer, you are a mwalimu, you are a nurse, whatever you feel you can mentor or you can offer to this kid, please know you are so much free and so much welcome to go and do so. Now, let's welcome our mwalimu. Please introduce yourself. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you. Mi ni Mwalimu Hilary Chepkerio. That is my name. Okay, I think I'm not new to this channel. I've been here. And we are here to talk about so many things about the parenting and also their teachings the way we do our teaching and also the way our parents do. So it is one thing that we all want to get to know what is deep inside our hearts. Yeah. So
Alright.
mimi ni mwalimu wa hesabu na biashara. I've also some mentorship programs in the high school. So it is Fly Generation Mentorship Program. I always go to schools and talk to students and mentor them. So I've met Ngatha Mugao, that is a network increased, which means my network will increase. So we'll be working with that. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. And asante sana mwalimu, you have always supported me in a very big and special way. Sorry guys, asante sana for coming in. And now today, we are going to talk about the challenges in our school. I know if you are a parent, you are a teacher, when mtu kama mimi, when in Kenya, generally, we have all seen the things that are happening in our schools today. And that's why I have decided to bring Mwalimu. He is going to talk kutoka ile point, the point of view, kutoka mwalimu. Yeah, he is a teacher. So I want him to tell us, where have we failed? What do we need to do? What are the challenges that they are going through as teachers? And now we have Ngatha Mugao. She is a mom. She's actually a biological mom of one. And she is also a mother to so many cubs, over 43 of them. And I know she's, as a mother or as a parent, she's going through challenges as well. I want her to tell us ni challenges zipi as kama mzazi she's going through with these schools, with teachers. Where does she want, or where does she feel we need changes? And so with that, we're gonna start with you, Mwalimu. And my question is, because a while ago you were a student and right now you are a teacher, what is the difference between then when you were in school and right now that we're wearing that hat of a teacher? What is the difference, or what are the challenges?
Okay, number one, there's a big difference. The way we were being handled then is much different from now. Nowadays, we measure our students into so many guidance and counseling stuff. But then, tulikuwa tunatoanga viboko. Okay, we were used to get into tough times. Tulikuwa tunapelekwa into tough things. But nowadays, students, akidogo hivi, we take him to our guidance and counseling sessions, because I do know that caning has been curbed in Kenya, though tunafanyaga chini ya maji, because if we spare it, we'll spoil that kid. Yeah, I'm proud to say that in this channel. We can put in some input here, but we also do some counseling, which wasn't much then or during our days. Again, the upbringing nowadays is so hard because parents have left a burden to us as teachers. There's a huge burden now because a kid can go to school expecting only the parenting stuff. So we act as a parent and we act as a teacher, which is a big role for us. And then while the teachers now, the parents now, they only play a role of the responsibility of paying school fees and then wanatuachia watoto. So I think that it is a huge burden for us now, but we appreciate that because it is our calling. Teaching is our calling. So yeah, we appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay, now I go to you, Ngatha. I know pia wewe, there is a time you were a student. You went to school, you were a student, and right now you are a mom. Ningetaka utuambie, do you think, is there any difference from when you were a student and right now that you're taking your own child or your own kids to school? What is that difference in notice?
I think for me, there's actually a very huge difference because, when you look at where we come from, personally, I come from Tharaka Nithi, and growing up, I grew up actually in a family setup, like that was so full of love and care. So there wasn't a lot of like corporal punishments. It was just, you sit down and have a conversation. And then the other bit was, the way unarushiangwa jicho na mama yako ile ya jaribu, And my mom would actually throw that eye and would all run away knowing hapa tumekosea. And then you see with my dad, he was also very patient in terms of he wasn't the guy that would actually beat you like immediately. So he'd like give you like 1, 2, 3 times warning, and then the 4th time maze utakula mshipi ya crocodile. And that thing was pure leather. So yeah, but at least he always gave you the opportunity to rekebisha, and he could also have a conversation with you like you did this and this is wrong, it is unacceptable and we're not going to accept it. So the next time you're repeating it, then you can be guaranteed utanyoroshwa. And actually that's for me, when it came to parenting my own daughter, it's actually been the same thing with her, and it's actually proven to work. Like you don't necessarily have to like beat her every time she makes us a petty mistake, a small thing. You can always throw in that jicho mbaya, that jicho kali kind of thing, and then it works that one time, and then this other time you can throw in a strict warning and it works. And and then until I started this the humanitarian work that I do, and I realized like every day you're receiving different clients who are the children now, and they're all from very different backgrounds. Kuna mali kwingine like I actually have a client who's been struggling a lot with unajua shule wanafunzwa I have a right. This is my right. And you see, let me tell you, there's nothing as dangerous as like a person with this size of kind of information. Because you see, when it comes to the teachers in class, that is, I don't know if it's social studies or something, that they're taught their rights and something like that. And then they're not told with every right comes responsibility. True. And with every responsibility comes freedom. So they're not told like what exactly could happen to you if you violate if you don't do one of your responsibilities in terms of your right being taken away. So they just think that it is my right, or it is my right to have accommodation. But you see, when they come to the shelter, then you have to tell them, yes, it is your right to have that accommodation, but again, it is your responsibility to make sure that you're someone that is livable with. Because I mean, how else am I going to live with you under my roof if you cannot be able to comply to the rules and regulations that are set out for everybody to mutually exist in this compound? You get? So hakuna kitu mbaya kama hiyo. Maybe mwalimu can tell us, is there a way that you guys can be expounding on this thing of called rights and and demands and stuff? Because I mean, you tell a child because by the way, I've had, especially the teenagers, the class 7, class 8, form 1, form 2, they're all gibberish and they're all talking about these rights and this, but nobody's telling them this is their responsibility. So wako tu, it is my right to have food, it is my right to have accommodation, it is my right to have what? But do they know what the responsibilities are? And in as much as the parents, we also have our side to play in terms of educating them on their responsibilities. Then when they come from school and asisi tunajua right ya mtoto ni 1, 2, 3, then we know their responsibilities is 1, 2, 3. And we cannot conclude here, we cannot tally here because mwalimu hakusema kitu kama hii. Yeah. So I think it's about time that maybe the Teachers Parents Association, which I believe is available, should be able to merge the two groups and bring us together in a way that we are able to, like speak the same language and be able to, like seem like be like a team, because I believe we are a team. Yeah. That's my take.
Oh yeah, okay. Before we go back to Mwalimu, there is something that Mwalimu mentioned, and I do not want to forget this thing. He said like parent responsibility, has been pushed to them. You as a mom, what would you say about that? Is it true?
I wouldn't disagree with him, and I wouldn't agree with him like completely, because I believe it's just on a parental one-on-one basis. There are parents, by the way, who are like absent, like completely absent. That one I can agree with him. Like ile kazi tu anajua ni kupatia mtoto pesa ya makeki na maswiti wakati kuna birthday and wakati kuna school fees that the mwalimu is asking for, and that's the closest he or she comes close to their child. While on the other side, we have parents who are committed full time. Yeah, like whenever we are called onto maybe the school and stuff, we are available to be there. And wakati mwalimu needs support on this side. But there was even a time I remember a teacher actually called me, and my daughter was on the other end of the line, and she was like, "Oh, mommy, this teacher has beaten me." I'm like, "Hey, what did you do?" And she's like, "Oh, I woke up late. Nini?" Nikamwambia, "Oh, ulichelewa kuamka. Now let me be the one to come and teach you. I'll come and add you more. So the next time you're calling me, telling me mwalimu amekuchapa and it's because you did something wrong, then please don't report him or her to me. Just follow, do what is right, and you won't have to be beaten. Kama ni assignment hujamaliza na umenyoroshwa, don't report it to me. It is wrong. I will not support you on that. Because I don't believe, by the way, in their whole minds, we have like a good teacher is someone who could like be able to hurt a child. They don't. Hawawezi. Like in their real senses, I don't think there's a teacher who could be like outright there to harm a child, unless wale, we say kila soko haikosi mwenda wazimu. So unless ni huyo mwenda wazimu mmoja, of which you cannot like go there and blanket shame the entire teaching fraternity. So,
and also I think in this era whereby like cases of depression has gone really high, like people are not okay mental wise or mental health, and how do I put it? Their mental health, they're not okay. So you may find someone or just a teacher have done something that they never intended to do, not because they are okay, but they could be going through something, and maybe ameamua to, but like whatever the teacher was trying to do was not intentional. And again, I am not here to kutetea anyone, because we have also seen cases of teachers turning out to be animals, to this kid. And I just want to have a neutral ground where
it's actually not teachers alone. When it comes to physical assault and violence against children in schools and at homes, it's actually something that's so rampant, especially even at homes. In fact, I think teachers, because you see teachers, they spend like I'll give it like probably 65% of the time with these children, and probably the parent will come in like 35%. But a lot of these, because I currently have a child that we have a case in court, and this girl was beaten like brutally. Umeona venye unachapanga nini nyoka, like you literally want to kill this nyoka. That's how this girl was beaten. And the person beating her is supposed to be the guardian, so it's not even the teacher. And the person worried about this child is not even the guardian, this parent. No, it is the class teacher who's actually reporting and, like having sleepless nights because of this, the way the child cannot be able to sit down in class. They come to class in the morning. They cannot even walk properly. The confidence level has gone to basement. Like technically, there's little that this class teacher can do for his student. So, I mean, ilibidi mimi niingilie. And you see, because the whole thing is because TCG bwana ya huyu mama ni one of the community policing wazes, the nyumba kumi wazes au watu wa security. So the police couldn't like take up the case. I was like, what? I love such cases. You try me. Just because you sit in some kangaroo court determining other people's cases, now it's your turn and nobody can do anything about it. Me, I took it up na tukapeleka kotini na huyo mama akashikwa na akashtakiwa. And me, I was so happy. In fact, she was like, kwani madam amsikizangi the other side of the parent? I was like, hata mimi ni mzazi. We all discipline these kids, but we don't kill them. Yeah. Because ideally what you are planning to do with this child is kill them. Wezi chapa mtu mpaka yani, like literally the entire, from the thighs to the bums behind here, mtoto hawezi kaa chini. Ni vidonda tu, like she's bleeding and you don't even bother to take this child to hospital.
Yeah, that's brutal. Okay, now let's go back to Mwalimu. Mwalimu, Ngatha amesema unaweza tuongelea, can you tell us about these rights, children's right, whereby they believe like this is my right, even if I don't do this, this is still my right? Because I have also come to understand, nowadays like corporal punishment was banned in school. in Kenya, and so there is no way you are going that route, because the kid will stand up and say, you know what, corporal punishment was banned. You cannot beat me. So Mwalimu, can you tell us what are these rights za watoto, and how are you teachers dealing with them? Because I understand it must be difficult for you.
Hata wao watoto wanasimamanga wanakwambia you're the teacher but mimi niko na right yangu. So it's not me as the parent who's felt this thing. I know mwalimu amepitia. Hebu tuambie
how are you guys handling it?
Okay, and unaona, like for me now, I'm a bit lucky because I deal with high school students. But primary school students, it's hard for them to deal with. But there's a huge problem with high school students. They like saying that I have a freedom to speak, like my freedom to speak. And I have a young brother who is a bit rowdy. So he once told me that, bro, I have a right to express myself. I told him that is your right and your government. Ukifika mimi, you have to follow what I say. So like that is what we have to deal with them, because we have to tell them this is okay, it is your right to speak, but don't cross this line. Usipita hapa umecross the border. So there are some rights, like they have a right to eat. Yeah, definitely hiyo uwezi wakosea. In fact, if you want to cause a strike in a school, wacha wasikule, utajua that they have a right to eat. Again, do you know they don't know even what they are talking about, their rights. I don't know if you remember when there was a teacher strike 2015. Okay, and the teachers striked and they went out of school for about 3 months. And these students, they are claiming they know their rights. They never went to court to kushtaki hao walimu kusema we were not being taught for 3 months. We need
because
we need a compensation.
It's also their right to education, but you can't even fight for that.
Yeah. They never fought for that. Them, they were just happy. Oh, watch our end strike. See. So I always think that these rights, as you always grow, there is a right. Okay, this right of freedom to expression will always grow as you grow. Kuna ile line, unajua hata mimi saizi kuna mahali nikifikanga nione nimeguzana na serikali, I have to toe my line, nirudi chini, nijeke chini. But these students, they don't know their rights generally. They know just because it is their right to eat. They don't know even that it is their right to education, because if a teacher misses a class, okay, these big schools have a tender where when a teacher misses a class, they will report to their principal. Those are the students who knows their rights. But go to a day school where nisipoenda class, hiyo siku ni sherehe. So like these people, yeah. These people need to know about their rights. Again, there's some rights. Okay, I think to the girls' school, they need some privacy, right to privacy, which I always like advocating for such. They need some privacy, especially girls' school. Because you cannot embarrass a girl. Like even if I go to a girls' school, it's hard for me to deal with girls, but I always like them because they express themselves. Wanakujanga kwako peke yako. They talk to you about their problems. There is some right to privacy, which is always good. And to the boys, we always deal with them. We deal with them like the way we want. It is not their, okay, it is their right, but we deal with them. Like the privacy I'm talking about for the boys is, do you know boys, they cannot spread their beds? Yeah. Boys do not spread their beds. So we have to tell them, bro, so you have to spread your bed this way and this way. Yeah. But for the girls, they are responsible. Yeah. That is the privacy I'm talking about. Because dormitories are always private.
No.
Something to say. Please tell us something.
What?
Yeah.
No. No, we cannot. In this era, when we're talking about empowerment, Mwalimu, when we're talking about empowerment, gender equality and gender equity, we cannot have you taking us back to 1800s. No, we are all raising an empowered girl. But the question is, if you empower the girl alone in terms of taking responsibilities kwa hizi manyumba, then who is going to marry them? Because I mean, the girls will be too empowered for these men. Na mwanaume atasema mimi, it's not my job kuingia kitchen. I mean, you cannot be taking us to 1800. I grew up actually in a setup where my dad would actually be the one to be making us ugali. Like whenever even my mom wasn't around at home, hata kama ni lunchtime ajatoka shule, because you know she was also a primary school teacher. Na ajatoka shule, so my dad would actually be there to make us lunch and breakfast. In fact, his food used to be the best. I mean, if I were to choose between the two, I would always go for that meal anytime. Mm-hmm. But I mean,
I hope
seriously,
your mom will see this.
Now, even if she watches, she won't watch. But yeah, that's the whole fact. But you know, I mean, we cannot have you like telling boys, wewe ni mwanaume lazima nikukumbushe kutandika kitanda. No. They have to do it. Just take the responsibility, just like you expect the girl child to take responsibility. If you expect them to have that sort of a privacy, then grant it to the boys as well. When you're having the conversation with the boys and then make sure the girls are present. If you're making the conversation with the girls, then make sure the boys are present. Because I mean, who's going to defend these girls, if the boys are not there? Who's going to defend these girls if the boys are not present? Who's going to defend the boys if the girls are not present? Because at the end of the day, msichana atakuja atapata mtoto kijana. Then how is she supposed to raise this boy when she's never seen a boy being raised all her life?
You raise them the way they were raised. I mean, like, yeah. If you raise a girl, you know, telling them all she can do is kitchen, having children. Mm-hmm. Even when she get a baby girl, that is how she's going to coach her.
Yeah.
If let's say I am a mom, I am being abused, it doesn't matter what kind of an abuse, whether physically, emotional, whatever kind of an abuse. And I am there with my daughter without cautioning her or without showing her whatever I am going through, it's not right. Let me tell you, she will go through the same thinking it is normal, because I saw my mom going through the same thing and she went do it. That is why we have this cycle, and especially in Africa, whereby I am being the way my mom was. I am being treated. If I get an abusive husband, I can't leave because I saw my mom being abused and she stayed there. She didn't go anywhere. And this is why we have this bad, I don't know how to put it, whereby we have even normalized something like marriage being like a bad thing. It has to be tears, it has to be abusive, it has to be, because like that is how our Grammy were, that is how our mommy were. We don't know anything better about marriage. And I feel so bad for our girls out there, because if your son or your daughter, let's say if you have a son, Mwalimu, and your son witness you beating his mom, he will do the same thing, because this is how my dad was doing. If you see you helping your wife cook in the kitchen, he will definitely do the same thing to his wife. So we need change. We truly need change. We cannot train boys, you are supposed to be like this. Boys, you're supposed to put your feet on the couch, ugoje chakula. I mean, how about
atijua ameleta pesa, atijua amepeana pesa ya kanyama.
Yeah, how about ile siku bana ile siku bibi atakuwa msiku, what will happen?
Yeah.
But okay. I mean, I actually get the point that Mwalimu was trying to drive. Only that nitoka vibaya.
Okay, let me explain to an extent. Mwenye ataangalia isho ajue. Okay, like, do you know boys are people, they are very hard people to handle. If you take me to a girls' school and teach a girls' school, it will be very easy for me. If you take me to a boys' school, I'll have to push them. Bro, mbono ujata, I'll come to the assembly with a list. Wewe, Hilary Chepkere ujatandika kitanda. Wewe. So that is how we do in boys' school. But that is how we empower them. But uko girls' school, it is very easy. They know their roles and responsibilities I think
No, let me tell you now, as a parent, hii ni ya mzazi anaongea venye tunafaa tuwaambie huko shuleni, just like we do at home, because you see I run a shelter by the way, and we have a boys dorm, so what usually happens is you know, wakikuja, most of the kids that I deal with, they're kids who've gone through a lot of trauma and a lot of violence. So what you're generally trying to impact in their life is at least some bit of a love and, you know, some transformational kind of approach when it comes to, you know, dealing with them. Of course, in every boys' school, you'll realize that those difficult kids that you always have to deal with, just the same as the girls' schools anyway. So for me as a parent, my approach has actually always been, you know, that very strict caution kind of a message. And you know, because I actually have a boy here. I didn't when we agreed to admit him, we actually didn't know that he was doing drugs. And the boy is barely 11. You know, like hajafikisha hata 12 years. Na alianza kutumia akiwa 4 years. These are dude who's taken bangi, he's taken, you know, like pombe, amekula miraa, amevuta glue, like miraa, like literally there's nothing this boy hasn't tried by the time he's like landing into my hands. And mimi, I actually didn't know that he was, you know, he was that bad. Sababu unajua ni zile ukipatiwa background story, unaambiwa huyu mtoto alitoroka children's home mara 5, ametoroka kwa polisi, like every time he gets arrested now he runs away, ametoroka mara 2. So polisi walikuwa wamechoka na kumchapa, so walikuwa wanamleta kwetu. At least we try do rehabilitation and see if we can take him back to school and stuff like that. So tukakaa mwezi wa kwanza, the boy is good, nothing major. Then all of a sudden, unaona the way you watch the SWAT team ikiingia kwa buildings using those ropes of theirs. Like from the chopper. That's how this dude did it. Na akaruka fence. Because na akatoroka. So, and you see now, of course, after umesikia the first day, umesikia all these dramas that he has and all stuff like that. I actually initially had warned like every child, nikamwambia hapa tunaletewa mtu, so just be careful. Anaweza pia kuwa rapist, and you know, because of the stories that you've been given out here. So I was actually warning the matron and the volunteers, telling them, hey, mchungane na huyu, atujui venye anakuja. Only for him to come, and then he's this small boy. In fact, nilimuhag tu, nikamwambia, okay, we enda uoge, then ukuje ukule, then we'll show you where you're sleeping. And out of that love kind of thing, that's how he managed to, you know, like kuvumilia, withdraw for the whole month. Then after that, sindio akaruka fence. Then now, and you know, it's a like there's a perimeter wall around it, so it's not like a anaruka fence ya barbed wire. that actually wakati aliruka now, instead of us, you know, like kumchapa, because he came back by the way 2 days later. Yeye mwenyewe alijirudisha. So akarudi, and then you know he's high like a kite. Ako huku bangi zimefika na huku. So that's the day I realized kumbe he's been using. So instead of actually, you know, the approach that the police and the other children homes have been using on him, I just decided like the best approach for this one is just love on him. Just support him. Just show him that we're interested in showing you the right path. You know, like badala ya kushinda umechapa mtoto, just have a conversation with this kid. So nikamwambia haya, we chakula ndio hii, because alifika kitu saa 3. I asked the matron to give him food, akakula, give him water, aende achukue shower. He goes, gets a shower, then changes the clothes. Tukachoma zenye alikuwa ameenda nazo, tukampatia zingine. And then nikamwambia, hey, we'll have this conversation about you kuhepa kesho. So we actually like the following day, he still like was not normal, like azikuwa zimerudi chini. So I just observed him, had a small conversation with him. Then akaniambia, it's not the first time he's been using it, like since he was 4 years. And every time the parents separated or had a small fight, yeye ndio alikuwa anachapwa. So, he had to run away, and sometime he would end up in the streets, and that's why I was introduced to the drugs huko kwa street and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm actually safe to say it's been now like what, 2 months hajaruka fence. Every time he tries, he's like, guy, mom, nasikia tu kutafuta tu tena. And we actually support him, and every time we make jokes out of it, and he's there to laugh at himself, and yeah, you move on. I mean, the different perspective as a mwalimu, how you can handle kijana, because they're all different kids.
Yeah,
The way uta, because kuna watoto wametoka familia ambazo they're usually like beaten every time they do something small. Anything petty for them is a criminal offense that's punishable.
Mugai, even without doing something, because I remember sometimes you were being beaten because your sister did ABCD. Or because your friends, the neighbor's friend did ABC and D, like, and then you
na wewe ni rafiki yake,
end up being beaten for doing or for committing no crime. Like even in school, sometimes we knew the people who make noise in class. But when the teacher come in, we are going to be beaten, like all of us. And we are not even doing anything. So, Mwalimu, let's just come back to you. Because we understand the challenges you guys are going through right now. You cannot beat a child. You cannot, I don't even know, how do you maintain discipline in school? Because for us, Mogao or Ngada, our teachers would tell us, go outside and kneel down for a whole lesson. And I'm telling you the following, I don't want that to happen to me, because you know what? It's embarrassing.
Unasema kupiga magoti nini? Ask me, tumeosha nguruwe hii maisha.
And also, nobody wanted, like, when teachers are passing by, they are asking you, what did you do? Why are you here? It was like really, really embarrassing and also humiliating. Like, so now, I don't think mtoto wa siku hizi ataona kama hiyo ni big deal. Mwalimu, how are you doing these things? Like, I don't want to call it punishment. For us, we used to call it punishment. I will call it like kind of like discipline. How do you discipline this kid without them feeling punished?
Yeah, the best way nowadays is number one, we don't embarrass them. Like, we just tell them, like, if a kid makes a mistake, you call him close to you, tell him that, look, I never expected this from you. Hata nimeshangaa sana, ni wewe ndio umefanya hii. I don't think it is you, even though unajua anafanyanga mistakes. That is how we deal with them. Number one, nowadays teachers are never told to beat, so we do something called counseling. We call this group counseling and individual counseling. It has helped us a lot, because we take one kid, talk to them, or we check as a group of students. In some schools, there's something called class family. There's something called family groups, which is held at a certain period of time, like 30 minutes. So there's a teacher dedicated to that students in each and every group. We check we check a group of 10 students. They go and explain a problem to their own teacher of their own wish. So mtu akiwa na shida anaenda kumwambia. That is how we deal with problems. If a student is found in a mistake nowadays, the easiest way, if it is a huge mistake like drugs, we talk to him when the parent is there. We talk to him or her when the parent is there, or we send, and then we can decide if he or she can go for a suspension. Because I don't know if you people know that expulsion is not allowed again.
Yeah.
This expulsion is a rare case nowadays. Yeah. So
for expulsion
I think
to
that
work,
thing
you
also
actually have to get the authority of the district education officer and something stuff
district
like
commissioner.
that.
It is supposed to happen, but I think it has helped a lot, because you could suspend or expel a student who could have had a second chance. There's something which we call a second chance. Even if a student is very in discipline, there is always a second chance for him or her. So I think we always give a second chance as teachers. Hata akifanya mistake ile umeona enyewe, this is a big mistake. Now, personally, if I find a student in a mistake, personally, I'll talk to him, personal. Mi siwezi enda kupeleka mbele ile yenye unaambia, oh, lazima I'll report you to the deputy, to the principal. No, I'll talk to him and I'll tell him, let me not find you next time doing this. If I find you, I'll report you. So that student will respect you. So what teachers have failed, I don't know if you people, when you were in high school, you found that there were teachers who were coming to watch you when you are playing football, basketball, all those games. They were all around with you people. Those are things that are imetusaidia sana because we go close to them. So every teacher who teaches in this country should go close to each and every student. And there's one thing, even if I go to corporate training for the teachers, I always tell them this: teach your kid the way you want your kid to be taught, discipline your kid the way you want your kid to be disciplined, and also treat that kid as if ni mtoto wako. So I think that is how we always handle them like that. Yeah.
And one more question for you, Mwalimu. Do you think that technology today have affected our kids in a way in terms of discipline?
Yeah.
Did you get my question?
Okay, come up again, please.
I'm asking, do you think technology today, because like,
yeah, come up again.
In our times we didn't have
Yes.
phones, we didn't know much about Google, we didn't know anything to do with YouTube. So my question is, do you think technology today have affected our kids in terms of like discipline?
Yes. Okay. Maybe my net is so weak, but repeat it, right? The question for the other child.
Wacha tu forward to Ngatha because yeye amesikia hiyo swali. Kuna vile unaona tofauti like saizi me I think watoto they know more than we do. And
yeah, of course, technology has kind of negatively and positively impacted the lives of our children, and that is for a fact. We cannot run away unless we all want to go back to the, you know, ilikuwa inaitwa aje, those Zinjanthropus age, and I mean we cannot be able to go back there. So ideally, like I was actually, you know, just this week, my daughter went, like I actually dropped her at my sister's place in Nairobi. And, you know, I gave her my phone just for the sake of communication because my sister, you know, she has to go to work. And so they'll be left in the house with her cousins. So ideally, whenever she needs something and she wants to call the aunt or she wants to call me, then we can have communication. It didn't even last me like 2 hours after I left, only for me to receive more than enough TikToks. Ati, Mom, you know what? I have joined TikTok. I'm like, what the heck? And, you know, and by the way, she's making like super amazing videos. And I'm like, you know, the things, you know, like the way you combine those photos and you have someone talking on the background and you have, you know, some, like, she's doing crazy stuff that I think a graphic designer is like taught to do. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. I mean, you could also become a graphic designer. And she was very excited. And I told her that because I think for some moments she thought that I was going to, you know, like, you know, talk about it in a negative way and whatnot. And then only when I embraced it and she was like, yeah, Mom, I think we can do this. What do you want me to do for you? I was like, yeah, the next video you're sending me, just make them cartoons talking about children and child abuse and stuff like that. So let's see what everybody else in the country thinks about your videos. And actually, I'm actually waiting for her to finish up and then, you know, we can see what everybody thinks. But I think technologically, it's it just depends with how, as a parent or as a teacher, you view it, and whether you control what the kind of audience that they have and whatever materials they are gathering from online. Otherwise, if you leave it like blanket without having to monitor the kind of conversations they are having, then you'll be in for a roadshow.
Okay, Mwalimu. I think we have lost Mwalimu. Ako, but nakaa amehang. Mwalimu? Mwalimu, unanisikia? Amehang kidogo. Tutaendelea na wewe kabla arudi, tutajua tu amerudi. I would like to ask you, I know we have seen so many things that are going on in our schools today, and we have seen parents are complaining, teachers are complaining, and the whole community out there is complaining. Let's talk about sexuality and drugs in school. As a mom, do you think our today's parents wanaongea na watoto? Me, I know when we were growing up, our parents were not talking to us. I know that one for a fact. But I think things have really changed. We are living in a very different world. Do you think we are doing things that we are supposed to do as parents? Because we have also seen like the number of our daughters and our son being introduced to gayism and lesbianism imeenda so high, imeshoot within in a span of a very short time. Kama mzazi, what do you think we should do? Do you think we're doing the right thing? Do you think we do talk to these kids?
Well, when it comes to, you've actually asked several questions in one, but when it comes to, especially when it comes to issues of discipline and like our parents doing enough in terms of discipline and supporting children in school and stuff like that, I think we do it we approach it from different angles because we have parents who are present.
Yeah.
The biggest challenge is we have parents who are absent.
True.
And a huge number of us as parents are technically absent in the lives of these children. And that's where the rubber meets the road. Because you see, I'll be present in the life of my child and she will have a normal life in school. And you see, we actually like, and then there's also the other parent whose business is just sending money. Because we have parents, I don't know if it is their belief or I don't know, but I don't think that you could be too busy for people that matter to you. It's never that, Nini. You cannot tell me you have a job that is holding you so much that you cannot be present in the life of your child. I mean, tunasemanga, wacha tuseme ukweli Tabs, because you see, this job, you can be fired tomorrow.
True.
Okay? Utaamka from square one, uanze kutafuta ingine. That one can be replaced.
Yeah, true.
But the day that your child decides that today my mother is not in my life, and the best person that I can share with my kind of life story is a dude who's just been there and telling me I love you in one day, and the next thing you know is your daughter is home pregnant. So who will you be blaming? The man who was present in her life when you were not, or you as the parent? And because we are human beings, we always want to find someone to blame. So if we are not blaming the government, then we are blaming the boy. You get? And I mean, and technically all these things are actually being caused by you as a parent. So we don't stop to point fingers at ourselves. Mara mingi tunatafutanga mtu wa kublame.
That's true.
Which is very wrong. Because if we are not blaming the teacher, we are blaming the boy. If we are not blaming the boy, we are blaming the government. And at no point do you hear a parent saying, mimi kama mzazi niliangusha mtoto. We don't hear that. In fact, wakati even the teachers themselves have seen that they made a mistake and they failed, instead of apologizing and going back to themselves, mara mingi wanaanzanga kusema venye, you look like your father, you're acting like your mother, anga sijui you're doing what? Because we are all human and we are trying to look for something to blame or someone to blame. If we are not blaming this child, then we are pushing the blame to the parent. And if we are not pushing the blame to the parent, then we are blaming the government. Kwa nini government imesema hakuna corporal punishment? Yeah, those are the questions we start asking instead of actually going back to the drawing board ourselves. Instead of appreciating that yes, we are adults and we make mistakes. Because if you want to, one technique that I've learned as a parent, in as much as my children the 43, the 49, the 50 of them, when they're looking back, they're actually looking at me as a mentor, and they're looking at me as a you know, like that kind of, you know, like someone they can look up to. Instead of me knowing that I made a mistake and going to this child and saying, oh, daddy, I'm sorry, I messed up here, you know, and it actually teaches this child that enyewe, mommy is not some semi demigod, you know, she also makes mistakes, and it is okay to make mistakes. The only thing that is not okay, it is to start looking for something to blame, when in reality you should be the one to be blamed.
That's true.
Because you see, when we tell these children that, you know, tumekosea, then we are telling them, yes, hata wewe next time unaweza kosea mtu, and the best thing to do when you make a mistake is apologize for it.
And to
Unaona? That is actually a very strong thing to teach your children, because at the end of the day, watajua it is normal to make mistakes. I am not abnormal. So ile siku labda ataongelesha mtu vibaya, atajiangalia aseme, guy, I don't think my mom would be happy if she had I said 1, 2, 3 things. I don't think my dad would be happy if he had I said 1, 2, 3 things. So I think I messed up here. Na aende kwa mwalimu amwambie, aki mwalimu, I'm sorry, I did 1, 2, 3. Do you think we'll still have a community of children burning houses and schools in Kenya?
No.
Yeah, it's because sometimes we push these kids to the corner and they cannot talk to the teacher, because remember, the teacher mara mingi yeye ndio ako hapo na labda amemkosea na huyu mwalimu hajamwambia pole, so amebeba ile grudge mulikoseana akiwa form 1, sasa amefika form 3. And then amekosewa nyumbani, so this child can also not run away, cannot run to the parent, so they are stuck trying to think, what do I do? Or maybe even the parent is not in the life of this child, so he or she has nowhere to run.
Yeah, and initially they pour out their frustration in a bad way or in a wrong. So mwalimu,
most of these children, Tabs, what they usually do is because they cannot express themselves, then zimefungiwa na huko ndani, they tend to act them up. Na hiyo kuact ndio unaona wanaambiana, si tutafute petroli, si tuchore huyu mwalimu pale kwa ubao anakaa, si tuandike, si tuseme anakaanga hivi hivyo. That's why you see even teachers wanakujanga, unakuta ulichorwa hapo kama mwalimu ati Mr. Hillary hapo sasa amechorwa yeye ndio amebeba nini, alafu unaongezewa madiaba za huku nyuma, and you become so angry with these children, but they're trying to pass a message to you that they haven't been able to, because you made yourself so unapproachable to them.
And also, by the way, even this drawing, for me, it may come to a positive part of it. Maybe huyu mtoto ni artist, ana draw tu vile tu tunachorwa na tunanunua picture, you know, but sometimes a teacher may not understand, like, this is a talent, this is something I need to empower, and to him anaichukulia like
anachongolewa, anaona anachongolewa.
Tukano yetu understand, this is where talent begin. Hakuna mtu tu aliamka akuwa 40 years akaanza kuchora, no. And also, like, even like people like comedian, you know, before you could not even imitate your teacher. Right now we have akina Eric Omondi imitating president, and they're making money out of it. But our teachers, they didn't see like kama kitu ya maana. Our teachers waliona lazima ukuwe mwalimu, lazima ukuwe daktari, lazima ukuwe pilot, you know. Akunanga ile room ya kuempower watoto. For us, when we were in school, we didn't get that opportunity. I don't know whether those things are still, they are happening today. But I remember when I saw that thing trending of mwalimu kuchorwa, for me nilichukulia haya ningependa kujua sana alichorwa in which way, because inaweza kuwa ni talent. For me, I saw a talent. I saw something good coming out of that. Now, mwalimu, let's come to you because you're a teacher. We want to know, kuna a lot of cases that are going on in our schools today. This is the drugs. Kuna sexting, ageism, lesbian. Wewe kama mwalimu, you as a teacher, where do you stand? Do you think this thing inafaa kuwa like the parent are the one who should be controlling this thing by talking to the student, or you as a teacher? How do you take it?
Okay, that is the hardest question I've ever got. Because, okay, I can repeat it. That is the hardest question nimeipata. Because one, in Kenya nowadays, the gaysism and lesbians, all these people, it's okay. It starts from home, inaanzanga nayo home. So like we have to be cool ourselves and start saying we accept people the way they are. Number one, you have to accept the people the way they are. Okay, it's not allowed, and you had the minister said that hiyo vitu enda fanyia nyumbani ukujange shule. So like it's a burden. Ukipata situation kama hii inakuanga ngumu kudeal nayo. You have to go to the guidance and counseling.
But that
Yeah.
must be tough for you guys as a teacher, as a mwalimu, whereby
That's what
tuseme unapata imekubalishwa. I don't know how you guys can handle such a case.
Okay. You know that thing, we always call their parents and inform the parent first. Hii kitu unajuanga huyu mtoto anakuanga hivi na hivi. Like we have to call the parents. Mzazi akisema anajuanga, then okay, but trust you me, no parent will ever accept that inakuanga hivyo. Atasema no, huyu amekuja kujulia hapa. So there will be blame games. There will be blame games. Yeah.
Okay, now this
my take Tabi, before you move on. I think, okay, on my side, when it comes to issues of lesbianism and gayism in schools, I came to hear of anything to do with gayism and lesbianism actually in high school. I had never like had anything like that at home, or even, you know, like had a discussion going on about it.
Yeah, me too.
So
I had it when
the first time I had it, I was actually in high school, and it shocked me that guys could do it. But you see, the biggest, when it came to the conversation around that, I would say personally, I don't have a problem with a child being a lesbian or a child being gay or being bi or whatever that they choose to be. The only problem I have is actually with students who force the rest to be like them. I have a biggest problem with that, because I mean, just as much as you have an option or you have a choice to be gay or to be lesbian or to be bi or to be whatever that you want to be, even to be trans, I don't have a problem with you being all that. You can be all that. It's just the same thing. It's the same option that you should be able to extend to me to be heterosexual. There's nothing wrong with me being heterosexual, just like it is not a problem for you to be a lesbian. So why should you force me to, like, you know, join your clique just for me to feel, you know, appreciated and normal and I don't know what else? It is okay to be different, but don't force it on people. That's where you draw the line.
Okay, Gao, I have a question for you, and sorry for that. Now that you are a parent, you are a mom, in case it happens that it's your daughter who is, and God forbid, it's your daughter who is teaching so and so to be like her, or so and so to be a lesbian, how would you take it as a parent? Would you want teachers to understand, oh, this is my daughter and this is how she is? Or would you want at that point your daughter to be expelled from school or to be given suspension? Because I think now this is where tunapoteleana. Like maybe, you know, my daughter is A, B, and C, but she is recruiting other kids. Do I support that? At this point, what kind of a punishment or discipline would I want taken to my daughter, just in case she is forcing other kids to be what she is?
No, in fact, if you're forcing other kids to be like you, I'd actually have a serious beating for you, honestly. I wouldn't like want, because unless this other child is aware of what they're signing up to, they are in a right mind to make that kind of a decision, then you having that conversation even with someone else ati, oh, you know, mimi nakuanga hivi na hivi, mimi napendanga tudem mtu wenzangu, and you're trying to tell her it is okay to join me in this clique of mine, my friend, we'll have a serious conversation around this, because mimi Let everybody make their own decision when they are ready and when they can take up the consequences of whatever decisions that they make. Because you see, it's just like we say in physics, every force has a repelling one, and it has the agreeing one. You see,
Yeah.
if this child at this point is not even able to make such a decision, na wewe kama mtoto wangu uko hapo ukidiscuss maneno ati sijui unajua mimi nakuanga gay ati naweza kuwa lesbian ati sijui nini, na huu mtoto ni mtoto hata yeye hajaisikia vitu kama hizi, my friend, where will you start? Because you cannot afford to have that conversation. That's where I was telling Mwalimu, now we'll talk about your right to speech. Where does it end? Because you need to draw that line. Where does your right to speech end? Because at that point you'll be crossing the line, and there's no difference between you and Al-Shabaab.
For me, I think this one is a hard one, because every time there is a case in our school, we will always find two groups of people. One group is supporting and the other one is condoning. And I think at that point, had to do it like we are moving this way. We are losing balance.
It's a new concept to African parents, and long before I think it used to be there, only that guys were not loud about it, and that's the time you realize even the Constitution, actually anybody found to be gay, or rather prosecuted for being gay or a lesbian and stuff like that, is given 14 years in prison. You see, so I mean, that's where we are coming from, and now we are transitioning to a period where everybody is talking about diversity and inclusivity, and I mean, that's where we all need to either speak in one voice or train people in terms of what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. Because we cannot hide forever. We cannot put our heads in the sand forever. At some point, we will have to wake up. Otherwise, the world will have moved and left us in the 1800s.
All right. Okay, guys. I think I will have one more question before we close. And Mugao, nimeona umekwama. I hope internet will work, because this question is for both of you. And it is very important to know where we stand, where we belong, and how are we going to move on as both walimu and parent, because these kids belong to us when they are in school, and especially like those who are in boarding school. Because I was calculating, I was like, oh my God, those kids who are in boarding school, they only get to see their parent like in 12 months, only 3 months.
3 months,
yeah, and now the rest of the oh my God, I'm sorry guys, we have lost Mugabe. Let's hope she will be able to join us right in, so we can conclude or we can close this topic. It's a broad topic, I have come to realize that. And so Mwalimu was saying, nimekuja ku realize watoto wa boarding wana spend more time with their teachers, more than they spending time with their parents. And I know definitely there has to be a bridge in between. There has to be, there has to be that crack in between, because spending time with teachers more than you spending time with your parent can really, hold on kidogo. Inaweza kuwa challenge sana. So let me ask. Yeah. I hope she will be able to join us right in.
She will be back.
So Mwalimu, let me ask you. Do you think topic sexuality in school should be discussed openly, both home and school?
Yeah, it should, because number one, the day, the problem is parents tend to hide as if it is a big issue. Like, we never tell our kids that ukifanya sex, if you do sex, there are consequences, these consequences of this and that. But we tell them that ukifanya tabia mbaya, there is this consequence. which tabia mbaya, the kid will start asking which tabia mbaya is this, and that from that he or she will start experimenting, which is very wrong. Will
Yeah.
start having it as, in fact, it should be in a science book itself, a topic of its own, as sex itself. It's a topic, it is a wide topic, and it should be discussed both home and at school.
Okay.
Because watu wenye ufail sana, especially ni most of these teachers, especially watu sisi wa hesabu, we fail a bit to tell our students. But I like the science teachers and these CRE teachers, they talk about it so well. But when it comes to the parents, especially our fathers, they don't talk about it. But mom will talk to you, will talk directly to you and tell you that if you do sex, you will get HIV and AIDS if it is unprotected one with somebody who has got an AIDS syndrome.
Yeah, true.
But so many people don't try to tell the truth to our kids. Yeah, it's a topic we need to discuss both as a parent and as a teacher, to tell our kids. That is why we have so many IE pregnancy issues.
Yeah.
Again, we need to import some of the Western culture whereby we tell these kids that having a boyfriend in Africa is like a crime. When they are in high school or when they are in high school major, it is like a crime. It is not a crime. Let them talk, let them interact. It doesn't matter. Yeah. I don't know what is your take on that.
Yeah, I
Because
personally
I see most of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I personally believe talking about sexuality, both in school and at home, and for both boys and girls, is very, very, very important. And I think as early as from age 6, 7, and above, because even boys, they have become vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like they're being raped by their uncle, by their auntie, by their own house help. So I think talking to them and getting to know when is the right time for them to do this thing, what it really means. Because I think also for those kids who have been introduced to lesbianism and gayism, they don't even know what they're doing. Because let's say,
they don't know.
We have seen kids who are in 10, 9, 10, 11, 12 years, being put into a boarding school. And what if your son or your daughter is being introduced to gazing when they are in class 5, when they are in class 6? They don't even really know what these things are. And so when I really wanted to hear this from Mugao too, because he's a mom, to tell us when is the right age for a mom or for a dad, to start talking about these things. And like I remember I have talked to you this before, I have talked about this before, like even dads, now it is that time for us to come, to come in together, hold hand, and raise these kids together. We cannot leave it for our mom anymore. Back then, our mom used to stay home. They were not going to work, they were not doing anything, and our men believe as long as nimeleta pesa, that's it. But nowadays you need to talk to your sons, you need to talk to your daughters, let them know any man who tells you they love you, apart from me, especially if you are 9, 10 years, why should another man comes and tell you they love you? You know what I mean?
They love you.
We can normalize telling our kid to nawapenda, because sometimes you don't even tell them. Like even hearing that word I love you from a mom or from a dad, it's like so when a stranger come and tell you they love you, and you are 9, 10 years old, and they give you whatever, they buy you mandazi, they buy you tipo, you fall for it. So I think it is very important. And also I think also where we've been mwalimu, we have seen kids from rich family, trying to influence other kids to say, I want you to join into my gang, I know you have nothing. Me, my mom is giving me 5,000 pocket money, whereas hauna kitu. I will influence you, and and maybe simply by buying you mkate for breakfast in the morning, that small thing may help you, or you become a target for me, like, or a prey, introduce kwa gazing, because 5,000 pocket money I have, we're gonna spend it with you. So Me, that is my stand. I mean, let's talk to our kid. Doesn't matter how young, because I don't think there is any young age nowadays. Our kids are not safe out there anymore. That person you trust so much, it could be a teacher, and me saying a teacher, it does not mean a male teacher. It could be a female teacher. Tumeona, I mean, young boys being introduced to, sexuality na
By this,
walimu wenzao, female teachers, even drugs. Because
yeah,
let's say if I am a teacher na kuna vile natumiaga bangi, where am I gonna get this drug? I will use a young boy who will bring it
yeah,
to my house where I stay, and then after that, I will end up introducing them to drugs, introducing them to whatever kind of a bad behavior, and we're influenced in a bad way. So all I'm trying to say is, let's talk about these things openly, and let's stop blaming. When something happened in school, we tend to blame teachers. We tend to blame teachers. Oh, ni walimu. Well, some of these things, because maybe huko nyumbani hana opportunity ya kufanya, hafanyi, but ako na hiyo idea anaileta shule, anakuja kuiexecute in school, because anajua if I say it in school, definitely it's gonna blame itaenda kwa mwalimu.
yeah.
All right, mwalimu, I think.
So I think.
Yes, talk to me.
Oh yeah. I was just saying this.
Mm-hmm.
We should start telling them at the right age, especially when they get to the age of 14. The age of 13 to 14. That is where adolescence starts.
No, but some of these young kids are being introduced to sexual activity when they are young. So have you ever seen those young boys who are 7, 8, 9 years old being introduced, by their household, by their nannies? So I think as long as mtoto wa 8 years and above can understand, it's good to train them, because like those young children who are getting molested by their uncles, some are below, teenager, they're below puberty, they were 80 years old. So it's always good to let them know, if you are a girl, don't let a man touch you, this and this and this part. If you are a boy, don't let a woman or any girl child touch you here and here.
Even a man.
Even a man. So I think tusigoje hadi wafike, because I think 13, 14 years our watoto wako high school.
It's too late. It's too late.
How about these ones that are between class 8 and class 4? Because they're also vulnerable. And actually, what wengi innocent one, those who cannot even speak up for themselves, those one, when you buy them sweet, they will keep quiet. Those ones that if you tell them, I will kill you, if you tell your mom, and they keep quiet. Asili vile utambia mtoto wa form 1, form 2, ukiambia mamako nitakuwa na nyamaza, they know. They know and they will speak up. So when you wanakuwa targeted sana, I think it's between 7 years and 7 and 12 hapo, because those are kids. Ukibayo mtoto chipo umwambia nyamaza, atanyamaza. You know what I mean? So we should not wait and then we start crying or we start regretting, saying I wish I did. And I will say this, our parents never talk to us. So if you are a mom, if you are a grandparent, if you are auntie, start talking to them as early as you can. We know it is not a very comfortable topic to talk about it, but we have seen what is going on in our school today. Sex iko shuleni, watoto wanazaa mapema. This and the reason I'm saying, like, we cannot hide these things under the rug anymore. We need to speak up. We need to say something. We need to do the right thing. Other than that, we're gonna cry for, and who will rescue our kids if we don't do something?
We lose a generation. We lose a generation.
Kabisa. So mwalimu, we're gonna end there. I think this topic is really broad. We can find another day and come back again, and let's continue. and continue. So thank you so much again for gracing my YouTube channel. Thank you so much. I don't know what I did, and I can see the comment, but I'm not able to read them. So once we get off air, I will be able to go and reset my computer again. And I am sorry, guys. In case you have questions, in case I happen to bump on your questions, we will definitely come back hopefully next Monday and continue with the discussion we had today. Otherwise, Mwalimu, thank you so much for your time and for
Welcome.
input on the discussion today. Sawa sawa. Have a great night. And guys, please continue subscribing, sharing, and give us a thumb up. Thank you so much.
Welcome.